Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name's Tiffany. I am a school psychology intern this year and I'm actually almost done, which is super exciting. Today, I'm going to be interviewing a school psychologist and we're going to talk about a resource that might make your job easier. So I have Jenna here with me today and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hey Tiffany, first of all, thank you so much for having me on here. I think you're doing great work in the field and I feel super fortunate that I get to be a part of your mission today. So thank you so much. For everybody tuning in, my name's Jenna Washburn. I'm a school psychologist. I've been a school psychologist for a little over 5 years now. So I have a pretty diverse amount of experience in the field for such a short amount of time. My initial experience was with a school district with a pretty good group of school psychologists. I had 10 colleagues. We were all really close, and my assignment was 2 elementary schools. And then I moved to North Carolina, and I was the only school psychologist for the entire school district, which was 7 different schools, and then all the child development schools around as well. So that was pretty intense. And in 2017, I also founded my company Click Report, which is a software service for school psychologists that helps expedite the report writing process. And I'm also a mom. I have 2 kids. My kids are Maya, she's 4, and Jax, who is 1. I had him right before the pandemic, so that has also been very fun. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Wow, I feel like you have like 3 jobs at once.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that too.
That's crazy. So how did you find the field of school psychology and what drew you to it?
So I actually found the field through my mom. She is a special education teacher. She has been for as long as I can remember. And she obviously has worked with a lot of school psychologists in that capacity. But I actually didn't go straight from undergrad to grad school. I did my undergrad at UNC Wilmington and I studied psychology, and I knew I really enjoyed psychology, but I wasn't sure exactly the path I wanted to take. So I took a little bit of time and I got a job in Atlanta at a mortgage company. And I just noticed when I was working, like, I didn't really feel super fulfilled in what I was doing. It was a good job. There was nothing wrong with it. I just kind of felt like something was missing. And my mom actually connected me with some of her school psychology friends, and I got to go shadow some people and like interview them, which I highly recommend for anybody looking at the field. And the thing to me that was the most intriguing was people always said, you never know what's going to happen. Every day is different. And that was super attractive to me. It just seemed like something that would be a good fit. And another thing for me is I just wanted to help people. Like I said, I was not really feeling super fulfilled in my position at the mortgage company. So I could just tell like something for me was missing. And then the schedule too, I feel like for a lot of people, the schedule is a really big deal. And my mom was always there for me over the summer, and she never worked really late or anything like that. And I wanted to have that same thing for my family, so schedule is definitely another thing that drew me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people love like the summer and winter break. And then I think when you start having kids, like that's huge that you're, you know, especially when they start going to school, you kind of have like an aligned schedule. And I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And I felt like when I worked with the mortgage company, I never got that. You kind of go from like, 12 years of school and then undergrad, it's always the same. And it was like the 2 years that I didn't have that, it was too much. I just needed like a break to reset.
What would you say is the most rewarding and the most challenging part of the job for you?
Yeah, so the most challenging for sure, when I was just starting out was just the amount of stuff that we have to do as school psychologists, and not just the amount of stuff we have to do, but doing all the stuff and still feeling good about what you're contributing and how you're impacting your district and everything like that. I really kind of felt like in grad school, you learn all these awesome things, right? So it was like systems level and counseling and intervention. And those to me were all the things that I thought were really interesting and really things that I like to do. And then in the field, I felt like it was testing and report writing and testing and report writing and testing and report writing. And I just like did not feel great that I wasn't able to do those things that I really enjoyed. And the most rewarding thing for me was when I actually did get time to do those things, and I got to work directly with the kid, and I got to actually see like growth and change. One thing for me, I really enjoy behavior intervention plans, and just like working directly with a student and a teacher and just seeing how the student progresses and then sharing that progression with the kid's parents, like that's so rewarding to me. And I just, anytime you have a moment where you can reflect on something impactful that you've done, I just feel like that's the most rewarding thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, most people go into the field so they can work with kids, and people love data. So I feel like the behavior intervention plan is definitely up a lot of people's alley. But I think we are a lot of times like bogged down by paperwork or like the system challenges, and it just takes up so much of our time. I guess like now that you've jumped into this like software field, can you tell us a little bit more about your company?
Yeah, so I definitely did not know that this is something that I would end up doing. And for me, like I said, some of the more challenging things were the fact that I had so much to do and I didn't get to do the things that I really felt like I wanted to do. And when I was an intern, I just kind of started noticing how long reports were taking and also like what the time was going towards. So I started noticing like how long am I taking changing names? How long am I taking changing pronouns? How long am I taking like putting the standard score in the correct place and then figuring out where the percentile goes? And it's just like a mindless task. And I was just noticing, like, if I can solve this problem and make this process a lot more efficient, then I can actually get to do the things that I really want to do. And I kind of like made it my mission to start figuring out how I could do that. And I was tinkering with Word and stuff and just like things in Excel. And I found out pretty quickly to get to the point that I wanted to get that I would have to learn how to code. And I didn't really have any coding experience. So I called some people in my family that have been coders for a long time. And their response was basically like, hey, you need to stay in your lane. This is not something that you're going to be able to do. Don't even try it. And it was around that point that I determined it was definitely something I was going to do. So I started to teach myself how to code, and I took some online classes and stuff like that. And what I really found was coding for me was something that came like very naturally. Like I would go into this like flow state with coding and just, my husband called it the code hole. I would like fall down these code holes and he would have to like bring me back up for air because like time would just literally slip away and I wouldn't even notice that I was taking so much time like figuring this thing out, and it kind of became an obsession. And I'm not gonna lie, maybe like a little bit of an unhealthy obsession at first, and I had to like reestablish some balance with it. But I initially just was doing it for myself. Like I just wanted to make myself more efficient and really just I wanted to enjoy my job. I kind of like had realized, I tried the mortgage thing and that wasn't working out for me. And then I went back to school and I knew that like this was going to be something that I was going to do for 25, plus more years, be a school psychologist. So I felt like it was super important to solve the issue right away. And after I had my templates and tools that I coded, I started using them at work and I started noticing like I was much happier. I was much more equipped to work. I was able to do the things that I really like to do. I was able to help more kids. And at this point, like it was still only for me, but I had one of my colleagues walk into my office just super stressed out. I think everyone who is a school psychologist has been here, but she just looked defeated. And I asked her, I was like, what's going on? Is everything okay? Can I help you? And she said, I have a meeting. It's in 1 hour and I did not write the cognitive part of the report. And like, I have to get to this meeting. And, you could just see on her face, like the stress and anxiety. And I said, okay, like I will help you. Don't worry. And I told her, like, give me your scores, and it was a DOS, give me your scores, and I'll write this part up for you. And within a minute, I put her scores into the chart and I gave her back this report for the DOS. And she looked at me like, what just happened here? Where's your magic wand? And I showed her the templates and tools. Of course, after her meeting, I let her get to her meeting first. And she was just super inspirational to me. Wendy Weeks, wherever you are, thank you so much for your support, because that really made all the difference to me. She looked at me and said, you have to get this out to the world. Like, this has to be something that we all use because it's revolutionary. Like, it's something that we all need to have so we can help more kids, and we have to have this. And she's really the one that pushed me to make this bigger than I ever thought it would be. And the actual templates and tools themselves, so the way that it works is you put your standard scores into a chart, and then you click generate, and a narrative populates with all of the standard scores that a student received, and it auto-calculates the percentiles and descriptors. And it also puts the student's name in the correct places, and it also puts in the correct pronouns everywhere. So then in October of 2017, I rolled out like the first version of the website. And I had a few members, like probably 25 or so, and I was receiving pretty positive feedback. And then I got to go on the School Psych podcast, which was an amazing experience. And overnight, I went from like 25 members to almost 200. And it was just super inspiring. People were saying wonderful things to me and being super positive. And, you know, I feel like the field of school psychology, we're probably a pretty nice group of people, right? Like, we work all day to try to help people reach their full potential. So I felt like it was a pretty safe space to be in. And that was also super motivating. You know, anytime that you're getting good feedback on something that you've made, I think, you know, that's kind of what kept me going. And when I first rolled out, I think we only had like 10 templates or something like that. So now we have over 70, and there's a lot of different tools and stuff on there too. So we experienced a lot of growth, and really the thing that keeps me going is just hearing nice things from our members and everything like that.
That's awesome. You just earned like 1,000 cool points from me, just like by learning how to code on your own and by using your family members as a motivator to do that. That is amazing.
Thank you.
And for you to do that, I mean, initially for yourself, right?
Yeah. So at first it was really just for me. Like, I just wanted to be happier in the position.
So I know we touched upon like a couple of these things, but what would you say are the main benefits about using a program like this?
Yeah, so one of the things that we haven't really talked about is having confidence going into a meeting. For me, when I was an intern and before I started using ClickReport, I would have a lot of anxiety about going into a meeting and giving a parent my reports, and just like going through my head, did I change this name? Did I change this pronoun? Did I make sure that I change every little piece of my template to match, you know, this student and their results? And I almost felt like it just made it so that I wasn't as effective at sharing my results. So using the program really gives peace of mind. And I know that's like hard to come by for interns, especially because you're trying to learn so much. And at least for me, it was nerve-wracking going into those meetings. So definitely it provides peace of mind. Another thing is I used to spend a good amount of time coming up with like visual aid resources for parents. So like the bell curve with all the scores on it and stuff like that. And with ClickReport, on any of like the cognitive or achievement measures, there is a bell curve that's auto-calculated for it. So you can just like print that out when you put in your scores. And I think that's something that's super helpful too.
I love showing the bell curve to parents. I feel like a lot of times the scores are really difficult to explain, and you have to go over like standard scores, scaled scores, T-scores. But if you have that bell curve, it's so much easier just to like visualize and to see where their child stands, you know, compared to everyone else. So I definitely think that's like an amazing resource.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's such a stressful time for parents, you know, and a really sensitive time for them too. You have to think about, you know, this is maybe the first time that someone is saying that their child might need help. So I think they don't necessarily come into the meeting with a super clear mind either. And then we're throwing so much information at them. As much as you can give them as far as resources to make things easier to understand, I think is really important.
I feel like it would be really helpful to kind of show, the viewers what this platform looks like, and, like how you use it, and then what it looks like when you put in those scores.
All right, so since we were talking about the BASC, I'm going to do a tutorial of our BASC template. And when you pull up the template, you come to this screen. You can see that there's a lot of different options on here, and I'll walk you through some of these really cool, unique features. So let's go ahead and go over to our social emotional section. Like I was saying, you can select the number of raters that you have. If you had 2 or 3, whenever you click this, your chart will dynamically change. Additionally, if you just gave the preschool BASC, then you can click that, and the sections that are not on the preschool BASC will be deleted on your table. All right, so now I'm going to put in some sample information and show you some other cool features. All right, so when I put in my information down here, it auto-populates on the top of my chart, and this is something that you'll end up copying and using in your report too. So it's nice that it happens automatically for you. And then also, if you need to change who your informant is, you can with the drop-down box. And you can change your F index, response pattern, and consistency as well. And whatever you have in here, it'll auto-populate onto your narrative. And I'm going to go ahead and put in some scores. And you'll see that there's some auto calculations that occur when you put in scores for at-risk or clinically significant. And after I put in my scores, I'm going to click generate, and it'll populate over on this side for me, and it's ready to be pasted. So I'm going to do copy narrative, and I can paste it over here, and all of my information is there. And then I can go ahead and take my table as well. So I'm going to click copy table, and it'll take all of this, and I can paste this over. And like I said, it's written in a comparative way so that, if both person A and person B agreed on externalizing problems, it'll say both person A and person B agreed on externalizing problems. And the same thing for differences, like it'll say, while person A thought that the student had clinically significant externalizing problems, person B did not and thought they had average abilities in this area. So it's written in a way that you would actually write it yourself. All right, and then I just wanted to show you on this one too, our score chart you can copy. So you can copy your score chart if you want to include that. And then also there's some graphs for this one that people seem to really like. And on the graphs, we had 2 raters. So on the graphs, everything will come up that you can copy as well. And it'll change like dynamically in color based on the student's score. So again, this is just another really nice visual to give parents so that they have something to look at and help them understand exactly what we're telling them when we're going over results of this specific rating scale. All right, yeah, so that's some of the main features of this one.
So what are some features that people can look forward to in the next year? I know, it sounds like you've been adding a lot, there's so many more features, and you went from 10 to 70 different templates.
Yeah, so we have some pretty exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. Right now, the one I'm most excited about is our FBA tool. I just feel like that's something that I always really enjoy. I love doing FBAs, but sometimes they're hard to start because it's you have to collect so much information and then organize all that information. It's just kind of cumbersome. Just the process in general is kind of cumbersome. So that one I think will be really helpful. And then we're also going to an ADOS 2 training for report writing, just to make sure we are reporting that in the correct style and everything. So that one I think will also be really good. And then just in general, we have a ton of stuff that people ask for all the time. And typically when we get requests and stuff, we keep track of the most popular ones and we'll create them as long as they're in demand. So we never really know exactly what we're going to get, but we always do announce our new templates and tools on Facebook and Instagram. So if you like and follow us on there, that's kind of the best way to stay connected and know about our new offerings.
Awesome. I feel like personally, like the FBA one would like help me out so much, especially like being an intern this year, being in the pandemic and distance learning. We really didn't get to do any FBAs. Like I got to see one, like a form, and that was it. And so I feel like whatever help I could get, like that would be so helpful for me. And I know a lot of interns and grad students feel that way, and having any kind of template or any examples even, it's so helpful in the beginning.
Yeah, and I think like every district is a little bit different, but the places that I was at, like they're intense. The FBAs were really intense. Like I feel like for most of my friends, I heard that they weren't as intense after school. You know, in school you do these really long ones, but mine were just as demanding.
I am going to leave the website information and all the socials on the screen somewhere, and also in the description box below. The website is called schoolpsychlickreport.com. The regular price for membership is $25 a month. They have a discount for if you do a yearly subscription. For the academic year, it's $199, and for the calendar year, it's $250. They are planning to open a company-wide discount for all students, which I think is amazing because as a grad student, I was, you know, there were days when I really struggled, and like I was working 2 jobs my first year, and I think a lot of times money is tight and student loans are not fun. I also have a discount code. It will be Tiffany15, and you'll get access to all the resources for $15 a month. And you do not have to be a student, but if you are a student and you want to help me out, please use the discount code. I will get a small commission from this, and I will appreciate it. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate, you know, you sharing your journey and your story and this amazing resource.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
All right, so before we end, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and follow Click Report on Instagram and Facebook. I'm going to leave everything on the screen and in the description box, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.